kink community is essentially non-existent in some ways. There's definitely some events coming up like Tethered Together, but those things are few and far between here. It's definitely, especially in Massachusetts, there's not really much of a scene considering all the laws here. So,
It's a very conventional place, so that doesn't set up a lot of kink community, but it's great. It's better for professional DOMs.
Yeah, but it's also, good if you want to have private parties, things like that.
I know nothing
Hang
about
with friends. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Everybody out there listening or watching, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble tonight. I'm in trouble, and you are too, in the most beautiful way. We are honored. First of all, my name is Nicholas Tanek. This is Your Kinky Friends. I'm an author and podcaster. I'm just a journalist trying to make his way to the kink community, celebrating the friendship and the beauty of it. And wow, oh my God, am I in trouble tonight in the most beautiful kind of way? Back again is the magnificent Jade Desire. She's a very good friend of the show. Incredibly kinky. Just on this wonderful level, this another level of energy, kink, intellect. Just incredibly beautiful, sexy, intelligent, and also a good friend. And I can't even talk.
You better get it right.
I know. Oh, in New Hampshire, but we're going to talk about New Orleans. We're going to talk about the dungeon reflex. Please welcome and be respectful. Show utmost respect for the magnificent Eustacia. Please.
Thank you. Or don't be respectful and put your pig mask on. I prefer that.
Everybody. Well, I do have to say that everybody, this is consensual. We're consensual adults talking about consensual role play. We're talking about role play. Seriously. We're talking about consenting adults doing consensual things in a sexual manner. It's not for children. There's nothing to do with children. It's all for adults. And don't judge. Seriously, don't judge. That's why you're alone, because you judge too much. You judgy fuck.
Don't yuck her yuck.
So I got to start it off. Let's start with our guest of honor, the new to Your Kinky Friends, Eustacia. I said it wrong on purpose to piss you off. I said
it on purpose.
Yeah, Eustacia.
Eustacia with a sh.
Eustacia.
Yes.
What's inspiring you these days?
This is a good one. Very timely, very predictable. But Nick Cave just put out a new album, and he has a song called Joy. Interesting because it's about like the sadness is over. We're all just going to be happy. And even Bob Dylan, who I cannot stand, said it was great. But I think we're going to try to bring back some happiness and post-pandemic cheer because it's over. That part's over.
No, absolutely. And I mean, I guess to piggyback on that, joy, the things that bring me joy these days and inspire me are my friends. It's wintertime in the New England area and it gets a little bit gray and cloudy and things like that. And, I've been with a lot of good friends, who are perking me up and inspiring me in a lot of different ways, whether that be sadistic, optimistic, etc.
Okay, we got the important questions right off the gate. I'm throwing away the questions. No, not totally. But we do have a question that's not on the list.
Okay.
And this is from SMCA. How many guys are locked waiting for this show?
How many?
God, is this a guessing game? Like how many in the United States, internationally?
Yeah.
Personally?
Maybe he's just thinking about you. Do you have anybody locked right now?
Always.
Are you seriously asking me that question? There's like someone on the premises and they're doing things in the background. Yes.
I have someone currently in a mental chastity lock right now who is so desperate. And I'm having them roll, D120 die for an orgasm. And because my favorite number is 11, they have to roll 3 die and get all 11s just for me if they want to earn an orgasm. And unfortunately, let's just say it's been a while.
Wow. Speaking of 11, the Smithereens have an album out called 11. Total non sequitur. Anyway,
no,
all
that's
right.
good. Actually, so Nicholas and I are total audiophiles, so there's going to be a lot of. Jade says she is not, but she actually might become a huge Judas Priest fan after this. So there's going to be a lot of rock and roll chat. And
I definitely want to talk about Leather. You were sending me stuff today.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about it. I was thinking about you. We got a lot to cover, but
you're going to put me in Leather?
I am in Leather right now, but I want you to actually focus on what I'm saying, which is confusing for everyone. I'm trying to keep my body at a low volume because that is a lot. There's a lot, as Jade would know, as my often working partner. So I'm like a human Roman candle, and I want you to listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth and not, one thing at a time. Oh, no. Oh, I know who that is. Well, there she is, Penny, my little buddy.
Northeast Munition says, oh,
yeah,
no.
Yeah. My music is a hard limit.
A hard limit? What did you do to this person?
What did you play that was a hard limit for them?
What haven't I done to this person? Anyway, well, we all know. So a lot of we're going to talk about it, but I wanted to say, because since Nicholas is in New Jersey, Keith Roth at SiriusXM has the hair metal radio, and he doesn't know that he's actually sort of the leitmotif in the, I guess that's non-consensual dungeon music, but thank you, the hair metal channel on SiriusXM, because I love it. And Keith
Headbangers Ball. I remember Headbangers Ball on MTV. It's a lot, love 120 minutes. But a lot of the harder stuff, like Ministry, would be on Headbangers Ball.
Yes.
Stuff like that. Yeah. All right. Let's
Ricky
get back.
He was my dude.
Ricky Rackman.
Yeah.
Oh, we have more comments. Eustacia is the most punctual woman I know. Tardiness must be on Nicholas. We had sound issues.
On time.
People, yeah. Yes, they were 100%.
We'll punish him later.
I was, because what I wanted to say is I want this to look like Masterpiece Theater, only like kinky. So here we go.
I love it. Tell us about your
Masturbation Piece Theater. There we go. That's our
stuff. All right, let's talk about. You brought up something that I couldn't stop thinking about all week. Actually, since we started talking about this a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
And we were calling it the dungeon reflex. And I think that this is something every kinky person, especially if they're in dungeons or out of dungeons, that they kind of experience, and it helps and it kind of resonates. So please explain to us what the dungeon
reflex is.
This is
actually a term kind of coined by me, and I'm going to talk a lot about Nina Marr, who's my protege, but probably the funniest person I know. She would be like interviewing Rick James. She's just wild and really funny. And the dungeon reflex is where you're Dom, so you just know what to do. I explained it to Jade as just double gloving it through life. Just when you're a pro Dom, you have just this sort of 360-degree view of everything. When you meet someone, you look at where their eyes go, what their body language is like. And I don't know, we could just go to Jade and she could explain more.
Well, in a lot of ways, it's sort of taking what you've learned in the dungeon and applying it to everyday life. I know personally, it's exactly what Eustacia has said, where it's, you have this read on people's energies. It's a way of applying boundaries and communicating very effectively. I know personally, I've learned so much over the years just from being in the dungeon and having to hold pretty hard boundaries and having difficult conversations and making sure that people are communicating with me effectively and honestly so that we can get to where we really want to go. But I know Eustacia is much, much better at I don't know, holding her ground physically, especially when it comes to applying that reflex in the real world coming from the dungeon.
Right. Or we just, some of the stuff I always laugh because, during the pandemic, move around a little bit. This is a very old couch given to me by Mistress Jasmine. It's very sweet, very classic Boston Dom. It's like an old ship. During the pandemic, I thought, okay, I had EMS training. The world is ending. I'm going to go jump on the ambulance. So I go, course. So and Jade's heard a lot of these. So on my first day, people tell me, okay, the man that's training you, he's evil. He's going to try to humiliate you and get you to leave the job. And right away, we had to restrain someone. And I knew how to use those plastic restraints in a way that was like lightning. And he's like, okay, you've done this before. And then later that day, and this is a man who was supposed to scare me, so I would go home. And later that day, his cell phone, he's driving the ambulance, his cell phone slipped under his feet. And he said, can you get my phone? And I said, I'm not putting my fucking head between your legs. And he said, I really like you. And he was known to be an ogre. And he knew right away, I knew what was up.
That's the beauty of kink, see?
Right.
The beauty of kink.
Well, he tried to protect me from seeing a naked man.
Yeah. I've never seen one of those.
Yeah, he came around a corner and said, hold on, let me just cover him up. His Franks and beans are out. And I was like, okay. And then later he needed to know how I had this sixth sense for the world, and we became best friends. But DOMs make great EMS workers because we have seen almost everything, and your bits don't bother us.
It's almost something, it's very interesting because I often say that I feel like I have a non-medical medical background, where it's like you have to deal with a lot of very interesting things, body fluids, things like this. And I have to say, not a lot squicks me out unless I think about it too much, in which case, but honestly, it's like going in, for surgery, and you're just like, I'm here, I'm ready, let's do this.
Yeah.
The kink prepared me for the liver transplant, not only emotionally and psychologically, but physically, like totally.
Right.
And just being, I hate to say it, but being around piss and feces and blood, like we get blood, kinky people get bloody, for fun sometimes, some people don't, some people do. But like being in the kink community and surrounded by it, horror movies as well, thinking worst possible thing will happen and knowing that there's always can be worse. That
Absolutely.
That really helped me deal with just facing the doom of death, of pain and suffering of the liver transplant. And it made me, it may also kept me sense of humor, the dungeon reflex.
There you go.
Get my sense of humor. But because it's absurd. All this is absurd. So you got to have a sense of humor. You know what I mean? If I'm in a French maid outfit, my lock and chastity. Come on, that's a little silly. I don't really look like it feels great, I
bet you'd look great in a French maid outfit.
You're gonna have to I'm coming a little closer. Yeah, you would make a great French maid.
I was in one yesterday, and I'll probably be in one tomorrow because I got to clean I have 3 floors of the house. I got to clean for my queen.
Or like the other kind of thing I was talking about with Jade about the dungeon reflex is like when you're a pro dom, you're kind of like the logistics person. So you only think about like what you need to do now. And this is going to get people in trouble. But another dom that I'm very close with is also a mortician. So, and we look so much alike that she can open my phone with her face. And she needed me to go pick up a body. I've never been in a hearse or a morgue. And I had to use her ID, but it was an emergency. So I just get behind the hearse. And all I can think about is that it's a Lincoln Town car. And my grandfather had one of these. And I'm not thinking about the body, or I'm just like, oh, okay. Yeah, this is a Lincoln. All right, cool. And then I go to the morgue and get the person, throw them in. It's okay. But yeah, you're kind of like prepared for anything. That's the dungeon reflex.
And what's interesting about the dungeon reflex inside the dungeon, right? A perfect example is the diversity of people and the experience that everybody has. Somebody's ready for anything, right? So we had I'm not mentioning any names, but I was at Mischief Manor, right? And there's a man in a straitjacket, hooding, and it was a little hot, right?
Mhm.
He's on the St. Andrew's Cross and he's in a straitjacket, but he gets a little too hot, a little too dizzy, and he falls, right? And he falls, but he's in a straitjacket. He can't get up, right? So I'm tied up. I'm suspended, right? Like I got this, my friend Sestra is on the St. Andrew's Cross next to me. But what do we do? We're like, oh my god! So everyone gets like the whole dungeon kind of like stopped for a second. Got him together. Make sure he's safe. Make sure he's elevated. Make sure you're okay. No one's going to the hospital. Everything's fine. All right. Then boom, we're back to whipping and spanking and hanging up and everything like that. We're like, and that is very symbolic of life. We kink on. The kink goes on. You know what I mean?
Kink on.
Oh.
I have had a few of those scares.
So
and
the dungeon reflex, another
yes.
thing that you were talking about is that you could size up people like that.
I can read people's minds. Like it is, I kind of just, I know too much. But that's
so how do you identify time wasters? That's another thing. Everybody, you know the rules. Everybody out there, never waste a dom's time.
No.
Never.
Please don't. Please don't.
So how do you identify time wasters, psychos?
Go ahead, Mistress Jade.
Time wasters. I mean, I think this also becomes a reflex over time, where you can kind of read certain language, things like that, in an email, in a DM. To say this to everyone. I often get asked, mistress, I don't have a lot of money. I really want to serve you. And I got somebody who actually watches a show, and we had a really lovely exchange. And I want to thank them for being as respectful as they were, if they're listening. Because it's, a college student doesn't have a lot of money, but it has a lot of like eagerness to serve and to learn and things like that. But we get a lot of emails like that. And honestly, like I live a really full life. And it's wonderful, but it's like I can't do all of this. And so I really like trying to suggest to people the way that they might be able to approach someone in the community, create a FET profile, this and that. But I'm going off on a tangent here. I just want to say, you get a lot of these that come along, and it's not that these aren't genuine, authentic, truly lovely desires. It's just a lot of us don't have the time for it. And as much as we would love to be our kinky selves and have so much more time, we simply can't. But you read the language, you read things like this, where it's like very easy to identify. I've been super lucky. Like I haven't had a lot of issues with, psychos or threats and things like that.
Not me.
Knock on wood. But it's like you can tell the people who are aggressive and who are coming at this not with like a genuine desire to connect. It's to feed something that isn't really like a healthy thing, But I'll let Eustacia talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously, look, there's going to be time wasters, but some of them are just genuinely curious, and some people just want attention. So I try to treat everyone with politeness. Most of the time I send a personal email back. I do have an automated reply, but that can be complicated too. But if you want to see me at this point, going on 2 decades now, you have to have a personal referral from someone that I know. So that weeds out a lot of people. And if not, you just get a link directly to my Sex Panther, and you can talk to me through there, because I would love to talk to you, and we'll talk about Sex Panther and platforms and stuff. But I do not take novices at all. This is an adult swim, and if you need swimmies, I am the deep end and I will pop them. I am not your starter kit to BDSM. That would be very bad for you. I don't want to bring you from the beginning. That doesn't interest me. It does for some women, opening up this thing, and maybe it has in some cases, but I want you a little seasoned, a little wet behind the ears.
Can I say something?
Yes.
This is great.
Eustatia's the one who I bring in occasionally to do double dom sessions, and I will use her in my own sadism to be like, "Oh, you have no idea what's going to happen," and it is truly that.
Sometimes I surprise myself.
Let's talk about that for a second, because I started the show saying I'm in trouble, and I meant it. I've been a cunnilingus slave for the last 3 days. I've also been cleaning the house. I've been locked in chastity, constantly dressed. I've had time off. I've had time off. So now I'm talking. I am talking to like
exhausting. Are you exhausted?
This is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. So you're doubling up on me. Oh no, I know I'm in trouble. So yeah, I'm gonna be a horny mess by the end of this. I'm a horny mess now, but okay, let's
hold it together. Put those hands where we can see them up here, Nicholas. There we go.
Yes,
we're gonna do a hand.
I can't do anything. I'm locked. I can't do anything anyway. So
yeah, that's what you say, but we don't know that.
I can't show it on YouTube. It's against the terms of standards.
Next time we'll make sure.
So okay, so doubles.
How
did you two meet?
Okay. You know, we were talking about this earlier today. We're like, how did we meet? We have a lot of similar connections. And we just had like a couple clients who we shared, and we often like emailed one another with references. And I know Eustacia wants to say something about references momentarily, but we met just through like-minded people and the right kind of people. We have a lovely client who we shared and who is like one of our favorite community bicycles.
He is a community bicycle, that's for damn sure.
I know.
Oh, I love that.
It's so lovely. And so we just formed this, love affair, and it's continuing. Actually, we're going on a little vacation together this weekend. So, this is just our foreplay.
Yes. Well, there was a pro house in Boston for many years, and I worked there, and honestly, we had over 3,000 members. So when I went independent, Doms would reach out for references, but there were some definite bad actors and some, not totally dangerous, but people you want to avoid. So I was very proactive about answering for two reasons. One, for the safety of the Dom, but I also love giving a great report card. And if someone is very well behaved and a 10 out of 10, I derive more pleasure from being like, yes, that is someone who is safe and fun. But also, so I like to answer references for many reasons. And so I'm like the Kevin Bacon of domination. So I'm 6 degrees separated from everybody. And I want to, obviously safety is the most primary. And we were really close to each other one day, and I was like, hey, let's meet. And then we, did some scenes, and it was really fun. It was love at first sight.
And not only that, but I love to share.
Me too.
So many things.
We could, yes. So.
Okay, so I want to ask this.
Where did he just go? What are you doing, Nicholas?
I'm here.
Yeah. See, 2 hands.
All right, so I got to produce the show. So,
sure.
Okay, I had a couple questions, like the first double session together, your first double dom session ever. So we have a lot of questions, so I want to kind of consolidate them, right? So basically, compared to your very first double, because you've had double dom sessions with other doms, correct?
Oh yeah.
We have a whole horde of people we work with.
Of course, yeah, of course. So, that being said,
yeah.
How are your double dom sessions different?
Well, I'd say good cop, bad cop, and very rarely Eustacia will be good cop.
Really? I can't even picture that.
I also,
You mean silent? What?
we are yin and yang, and that's really great because, when I work with some other people, we're just we're sort of just like Nikki Sixx and Tommy Lee, but Jade and I are different, but also I learn a lot from her. She does aftercare a different way. She does the kind of the entryway through the door. I didn't train Jade, which is, kind of interesting. So to see her work, and she's so warm and inviting that it's more transcendent. I'm more like visceral, but with Jade, she's like a casino. You lose all track of time. You need oxygen. I could go on for like 6 hours. I wouldn't even know. So I really love working with her because I just sort of like, I feel like we're just like we're like a chamber orchestra. That could be our band name, Chamber Orchestra.
I like this.
So I noticed that there are a couple of amazing double doms that have been on here, and then there are a lot of dominatrixes that I talk to who are relatively new, and they want to do that. They've never done it before. They never double dom a session before because they're new to the game,
Right,
new to the lifestyle. So, what are the key factors of success for a double dom session?
I think you have to have like chemistry with the person and not I also think you both have to be willing to sort of give and take when it comes to the power in the dynamic.
yes,
Because, I've played with a couple people who, it felt very clunky in the way where someone's trying to be the alpha dom.
right,
And I'm very much like, if you want to take the reins, you are welcome to take the reins. I will sit back and I will follow your lead because I am not that person who is going to fight for dominance.
right,
Especially in a double dom session, because ultimately it's about the person that your client, and it's about their fun. And I'm not going to try to fight this other person for their fun. We're just going to have fun.
we're not playing Dom the Dom, right?
Yeah.
And so, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of things. And my rule is because I've been in so many people's spaces, figuratively, literally, I know all the jokes are going to make themselves, all puns intended. I'm like an octopus, and I just know that I take up a lot of room. So when I'm in someone else's space, just my rule is let them lead. When you're in my space, you're going to feed my Frankenstein. But when I'm in your space, we're going to just let you lead. It's also, that's also a logistics thing because I know where all of I'm like David Blaine, boom, chain over here, hook over here, D-ring here, rope here, right? So it flows better if I let the other person lead. If I'm in their space and, if you're working with me, I will lead, but that's also like just a logistical thing. And also, Jade and I, neither one of us are insecure or we're kind of just, on the same level. So we just play together. We play well in the sandbox.
We do, but I also think it's like having respect for the person. And, I think kink in general, you should always come at it with a sense of curiosity and in the way that you want to learn. And that's one thing that I've learned with the double doms is, instead of trying to take power or whatnot, watch, because you learn so much from the people that you work with,
Yes.
whether it's like, I'm going to give a shout out to Mistress Lux because she's someone who I adore. And she just has this like hot, mysterious, sensual, like sensuality that is just like chef's kiss in so many ways. And like the way she whispers in somebody's ear, it like gives me goosebumps.
Mhm.
So watching other people and where their strengths are and how you can incorporate it into your own play
Right.
is, a lovely thing.
Like I will add to that too. Like I play a lot with Talia, Dominant Talia from Chicago. It's a TH. There's more than one Talia. And she really is she's kind of a rocker dom too. And she really, she's into sleaze and calling people tricks. And she really like puts one leg up and she's like, take it like Nancy Reagan all the time. And like really just like toss him around. He's a trick. She'll like be, she'll be stepping over him like he's not there. One time a client said, do you know that Dom and Natalia tied me naked in a chair and just opened the window curtain and just left me there? And I was thinking, she probably forgot that you were there. But I love that. Like she really objectifies people. And it's a totally different style because it's so like, if that's kind of what you're into, but it's like, it's really, it's humiliating and thrilling and it's kind of art house. And she kind of makes you into a prop. And I've never seen anybody work like that. And I love it because it's so original.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about hitchhiking whores and that whole sleaze soon, but we're still on the double doms.
Yes.
And one thing, like I said, I want to kind of make this like an educational show in a way, hangout show, but everybody makes mistakes. We all make mistakes. And you don't have to be your mistakes, but what are some major mistakes that are made in a double dom session? Either the doms make or the subs make.
Well, I mean, if it's a sub thing, I'd say expectations.
Okay.
Because I think honestly, that's for both the DOMs and the subs. Expectations is a big thing. And coming in with this idea that, you know, it's going to be a very specific fantasy, that in general, for whether you're doing a single session or a double dom session, the expectations is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Because you never know, especially if two people are new to working together. And like I've had some subs ask for a double dom session with somebody who, like, they're my clients, but they approach the other person, and I would have never said, let's work together because the energy just isn't there. So don't do that. If you have a dom, ask her who'd be a good double dom with her.
Yeah.
First of all, because there's a couple of experiences where somebody went around me. I was like, ooh, that was one of the worst sessions I've ever had. And with DOMs, I think honestly, just again, don't try to like top one another. Just try to work together for, like, you know, the common goal in some way.
Yes, I completely agree with that. I mean, mistakes as far as like the subs, that's a whole other show. But I know that some mistakes I've made, it's like I'm so into cleanliness and safety and hygiene that I haven't explained to the person I'm working with, like, where to put things that are unclean. And so now I'm really conscientious of that. Like, we really brief when we use things, where they're going to go, where, you know, things like that, just like logistical things.
Can I just say, I love being clean. It's like, it's a great thing. Just like, it's just,
well, you need
let's
to
appreciate clean people for a second.
Yes. Yes. That's why you hire a professional. Yes. And you don't go to the random person on field that has no clue what they're doing, and that is not going to be safe. So on any level, so like, I mean, of course, there's all kinds of things. I mean, there's a million blunders that could happen. That's a whole other show.
The cleanliness is sexy. Seriously. Yeah, I get, yeah. Let's get back to the good thing. So Jade loves to say no. No, no, no. No, no. So what are some creative and fun or cruel ways to deny? I'm gonna take myself out.
Would you like to go, Eustacia?
That is a loaded question. I mean, if it a fun and creative way, I mean, fun for who? I really have fun ignoring and making people wait. Because in today, everything, right? The rapidity within which we communicate, within which we press buttons and get packages, everything is right on the money, right? It's immediate. And, you know, a Dom that is much more senior to me, which we talk a lot about, Jade, she said people used to have to write her letters and wait 5 days. And I never forget about that, because everyone, once you try to rush me, now I am going to sandbag you. And I don't care if we don't session. You will learn to be patient and wait. And you will wait for a response. And you will wait for a text back. Jade Desires will not wait 30 seconds. But if you are a slave, you need to learn to wait. And in every way, even during the session, even for the big event that you want, you have to wait. And you have to be patient in that, because that's so rare.
And I'd say, I mean, some of the fun ways is like, for example, if you're playing a game, I love playing games. I think they're super fun, but I like to rig them where I win and you don't. Much like, you know, roll 120 die. Great. You're never going to get 3 11s. And if you do, I will applaud that miracle for you. But if something's rigged in my favor and for my sadism and my pleasure, I will much rather play a game like that in some way. Or I'll just say no by ruining your orgasm, which is also really fun for me. So
I mean, I say no by giving you a swirly and flushing your head down the toilet, but like, that's just me.
Yeah.
That's who I am. If you don't, I love high school bullying. I want to give wedgies and swirlies. Actually, Jade put this idea in my head, and I've actually been looking for a set of lockers so I can smash you into them and throw you in. That would really do it for me. That's what I want to do.
Eustacia, you wrote that self-expression and freedom through bondage, chastity, and denial in your website, your bio. It says, how do you do this?
I mean, I like extreme bondage. Like, I like to make it complicated and use tons of gear. I mean, these are kind of three different things, but I like to do things like make an obstacle course, and you have to, while you're kind of a worm, have to fight your way through it, eat a lot of strange things, move chess pieces, that kind of thing. I like to make up games, and so that's really fun. And if you can complete certain tasks, I love blindfolds. They can come up, they can come off, but I like to sort of, give and take and make it complicated.
And now, if I can speak on this, like, I don't know if this is what you also have in mind, Eustacia, but I loved reading this when we were given the questions, because I think there's something to be said for folks who enjoy really heavy bondage, to be in a place where you are forced into thinking about your situation, and that's it. And it's almost like meditation. If you're being guided, quote unquote, into a sleep sack with a really heavy hood, what are you thinking about? You're not really thinking about what's going on in the everyday life. You're thinking about, oh my God, this is challenging for several different reasons. But oh my God, I feel the pressure of a woman laying on top of this sleep sack. And it's a really freeing thing to get out of your head, when these days all of us are sort of like here. I think bondage, chastity, and denial can make you very present. Much
I love that. I have to add to that.
Yes.
So what happens, this is surprising. This is always, so like, once I put somebody in a sleep sack with lots of belts and into the cage, right? There's often this moment where they say through their hood, I feel so safe right now. And like, I wouldn't expect that. And I'm glad. And I like to use real Brinks locks too, and like really actually lock it and like throw the keys. I mean, I'm being dramatic. I could have extras, but, and they're like, this is the safest place on earth when they're wrapped up like a mummy. And I like that they trust me enough, because so many things could go wrong, that I like that in the bondage, that's where like the self-expression and the safety of it. Because now, I've really removed any sort of autonomy, and I like that that's the answer. Interesting.
Yeah.
It reminds me, you were talking about bondage and specifically self-bondage. I used to make homemade straitjackets out of like raincoats and belts. And that's like started me on this whole thing of my love for it. Yeah. So, Eustacia, you're born in New Orleans. You're raised in the French Quarter.
I was born in Boston, but I always
say born in Boston.
Yeah, my formative years were spent in New Orleans, which is a really strange.
Oh, okay.
So I was born in Massachusetts, but I moved to New Orleans when I was 12, 13, and I lived in the French Quarter. So Jade and I have talked a lot about this. It's a very kinky place with, goth bars and Southern decadence and lots of people in dog collars and chains and leashes. So that was part of my kind of like psychological sphere, as I lived on Royal Street, which was strange because people wouldn't believe me. Like at school, I was like, no, I lived Royal in St. Philip. So that is an interesting place to kind of grow up on your bike. They don't really have other kids to play with. So I would hang out at, there was a leather bar for men, like a bear bar. And I would go, it was called Bears and Boots, but like they would let me in there when I was like 15. I would just kind of hang out, like swing my feet.
Yes.
And
shout out to all the bears out there.
I have an inner homing device for bear and leather bars. In any city. I was telling you, I was in North Carolina and I found this place called the Woodshed. Wow. I can find an eagle with my eyes closed wherever I am. I should have a Lifetime Achievement Award for the woman at the Eagle. I love all eagles. San Francisco, shout out to the LA Eagle. A lot of trouble there. But
it's funny, the bears I know, the bears I know who I met in New York City,
yes,
they're from New Orleans.
it's like it's bare heaven, and I grew up with that, so I just love it. And my parents had a restaurant, not a huge thing, but I was telling Jade, I walked into the kitchen one day and a guy was drawing a diagram of his butt plug because he was stretching out on a napkin for my mom, who only taught preschool, and I grabbed it and I was like, stop it, and I was probably like 16, but I definitely knew what he was doing with his butt plug. But the fact that he's drawing a diagram, and that, that's kind of like the culture down there, or at least like in the quarter at that time for men. So I was always surrounded by it. And actually I was telling Jade that because like the harnesses were so prevalent in assless chaps, originally I thought that being gay automatically meant you were into leather, because I lived a block off Bourbon Street. So I didn't really understand until later. But I've been around it my whole life. That's probably why it's so normal to me.
Now, how do you think that has shaped your ideology towards BDSM these days?
I mean, I think that it makes me, all I can say about that, because that's such a profound question, but I like when things are natural and in the wild, and it made me appreciate both sides, finding it in the wild and then the professionalism even more.
All right. So this is a very important question. What is it about traffic cone orange?
Look at these. I have traffic cone orange flowers here. My spirit color. Because for some reason, there's always an accident or something very urgent that I always have to tend to all the time. I have multiple phones, and I just feel like I'm a human tourniquet at all times. And so the spirit of orange being the warning color for many things. And also, I like to play hard and heavy and get kind of rough. So, and it's an unsung color. I also, I like the phrase, and this is how I feel like with a lot of clients. Sorry, I'm going to say it, and I hope you're watching, the person who this one's dedicated to, but the juice is not worth the squeeze with a lot of you, which made me love orange. Because every time I'm wearing orange, I am saying, no, see your juice, no, you're not getting mine, out. That is some synesthesia for you, right? Synesthesia, feeling a color. That orange says, because it's kind of a warning color, it's between red and yellow, right? And that's where you're at.
I gotta send you this album by a group called a guy called Juba Dance from Chicago. It's called Orange. He loves orange, and this is you dig it. Shout out to Audio 8 Records, I believe. All right, you're the glam rock dom.
I am.
So, what's the best glam rock song to have a session to?
You got to understand, it's because like I was born in the 80s, so the first I sent you both. I hope you watched it, but like I used to see one of the first things I ever saw on TV was like Lita Ford, and we're talking about Judas Priest and Rob Halford, and those things are embedded in my brain. Like I didn't realize I liked Judas Priest and I thought it was cool, but I didn't realize he had a riding crop, and I'm watching. As a kid. So like that's like powerful imagery that's kind of subconscious that I was absorbing early. But I also think like glam rock is sleazy and fun. And I always like to wear high cut things. I mean, 2 women who trained me were working in the 80s, let's face it. So I always like that high cut kind of look. And I had a mullet at one point. I might bring it back. But also the message from that music is always like the woman is hard to get to. Like Alice Cooper's Poison is a good one. Even like just sort of, there are a lot of good ones, Bullet Boys, Smooth Up in Ya. There's like, just so many like Poison songs, right? And a lot of them are about, getting to the intangible woman that you can't quite find and what will happen when you do get to her. And there's also a whole style around it. And it's also fun to listen to, and you can sing along, who doesn't want to like hear some Poison? I don't know. I know Jake's not an audiophile, but it's also fun. And I was like working with Princess Dandy. Shout out to Princess Dandy, by the way, at Princess Dandy's Playroom. And we were working together, and I'm just kind of like, once bitten, twice shy, great white. And I have a silver jumpsuit on, and she's like, "Is this what you do?" I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Yes.
Makes people, it's really like, it's really sort of hair metal, but it makes people happy. It's
Yeah.
fun in its weirdness. You know, who doesn't want to hear like "Kiss Me Deadly"? It's fun. It's kind of like it's sleazy. It's a little tacky, and you just can never get enough.
I may
Even
not know
before-
music, but I'm here to dance.
Yes, you will.
Even before like hair metal, like glam rock. That's why I have a strong love for David Bowie, Roxy music, and all that
Right.
stuff.
As you-
I
have you-
highly
you-
recommend the
just-
movie Velvet Goldmine.
Right, did
Yeah.
you see this picture
So
of
out of
her?
all these,
Yes,
ooh, Bowie.
it's a big one. That's why it's taken up the whole room. But yeah, if you want to see it,
So out of all these
legendary.
people,
Yes.
all these people, living or dead,
yes,
right?
yes.
Who would you like to dom?
Ooh. Jade, go ahead.
Oh, hey, you're asking me?
Oh,
This is a question about music.
Me? I'll tell you who I'd like to dom. Lou fucking Reed, because he hates women and he's evil and he's done a lot of mean things to his groupies. I want Lou Reed in my hands. Into my arms, Lou. Let's see what happens. That's
Yeah,
it.
tell me.
Done. Lou Reed.
What
hands
song
down. You're mine.
would you sing "Dirty Boulevard" as you peg him?
I wouldn't flatter him with his own music, okay? He's going to listen to Motley Crue like the rest of them. He's not special. I don't like what he did to his groupies. I got my eye on him.
I'm not really familiar with that. I know he married Laurie Anderson. I'm a fan of Laurie Anderson.
He it's not Meet Me in the Bathroom, but it's that book about Richard Hell in television.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah,
a lot
I
of
knew that.
women complained about what he did to them. So yeah, he's my pick. But like
Okay.
as far as a fun one too, I mean, I met Tommy Lee. He tried to take me home. Sorry, Tommy, it was unrequited because I was working at the time. So I'd like to pick up where we left off. I'd like a second round with Tommy. You saw the photos of it. It was the best day of his life, was meeting me. But I couldn't actually go home with him because I was on the clock. My pickup line was, I know you're Tommy Lee, but I know you speak Greek. And then we went into Greek mode. And so we got excited about that.
Turning down Tommy Lee.
I had to. I was working.
All right, so let's go through you have a dungeon and it's all filled with hair metal, glam rock people, and they all have to have jobs.
Yes.
All right. So who's the Rock of Love guy? Brett Davis.
Brett
Would he
Michaels.
be a sissy?
You're right,
Brett Michaels. Would he be a gimp? Would he be a sissy? What would his role be?
Brett's a sissy.
Would he be a dom? Would he be a male dom?
Sissy. He's got great hair. He needs to use that.
So all these hair metals, they all become sissies because their hair?
I mean, look at CeCe DeVille. Like, also, that's the other thing about glam rock. I grew up watching these, like, Jade, you got to get into this, because, like, watching these guys, right? They're, like, really sexy. And the song, this is what I want to talk about, Talk Dirty to Me by Poison. And I'm, like, 11, right? Like, rocking out to Talk Dirty to Me. But they've got, like, their hairdo with, like, this pink frosty lipstick. But women are turned on. And I'm kind of turned on. And like, it was cool. It was really avant-garde in the time. So like, I can't help it.
At Record Town in the mall, there's a little shop in the mall called Record Town, Woodbridge Mall.
Yeah.
And they had Poison, Open Up and Say Ah on a cassette. And it was like listed. I was buying Violent Femme records at the time.
Listen to that title, Open Up and Say Ah.
Yeah.
Like.
And the guy behind the counter, I remember his name was Ron. He was like, they look like women. Like, that's the first thing that came to my head. They look like women.
The gender bending of it, yeah. Or like, what I wanted to say about Judas Priest. My favorite Judas Priest album is called Ram It Down, and it's a great song. Like, that's just a lot. But I mean, obviously, what are we talking about? Ram It Down here, Rob. He's known to be openly gay. He's not talking about plunging the toilet. You know what I mean?
And the gender expression.
Yes.
Amazing. Like David Bowie.
Yes.
It's so hot to me. It's why, like, when people call me daddy, I'm like, yes, I love the mind fuckery of it. And I like the gender expression of my own, like, masculine side in some way.
Oh, yeah. Jade knows I love to cross dress. So I like to cross dress, right? And I have this other character. And whenever I show up in my other character, which she has seen, she's met Lex, my leather daddy character that I become sometimes. So people are like, I don't know why that's hot. And also, so that's interesting. Or like, why would you do that? You're so beautiful, right? And I'm like, I'm having a great time with my Fu Manchu.
It's hot on so many levels. And one of the main levels in my opinion, one of the main levels it's hot is because you are having a good time.
Yeah, I think it's my
Women who are
natural state.
empowered by it's sexually are fuck, it's so hot. But let's talk about Bowie for a second. Imagine just for a second. We're gonna get to the real questions, but you have Bowie behind you.
Yes.
How would you double dom Bowie?
God, I would definitely put makeup on him. And I'd want to see him in like bondage. Just,
Yeah.
and I'd probably want to touch him a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be able to dom him, so I would join him, and then Jade could top me, which never happens.
Oh God, that'd be so hot.
Me and David, we'd be tied together singing Absolute Beginners, and I'll just let Jade take the reins because I couldn't handle that. That would be great.
If I could bind you to him and then, whip him in some way, and then just have you feel his reaction, and the voyeurism of it would just,
Yeah,
yes.
he's in a different plane of like deity for me. So I'd want to just have you be the DJ.
I'd be more than happy to.
Thanks.
That was beautiful. Just seriously. All right, you're a pilot. You're the dominatrix pilot.
I am.
Now, I coming from people who some people in my family are pilots, and it takes a lot of attention, work, studying. There's a lot of power in your hands, and so how has being a pilot affected your BDSM lifestyle?
It's a private pilot's license, so nobody get worked up. I am rotary wing, which is helicopter only. So basically, this could be its own podcast. A client asked me what I really wanted in life because he was going through a hard time that I helped him through. And I said, I'd like to be a helicopter pilot. So I have, 100 hours or so on a Robinson. I'm just going to make this short. First of all, what I like about it is that there are less than 300 female helicopter pilots in the US, and you're very close to your instructor. And I think that makes them nervous because there's a lot of things that could go wrong. And I'm like, listen, son, you have to actually reach through your co-pilot's legs to check the circuit breakers. I'm like, I'm not going to Me Too you. You got to watch out for me. So spread them. And I check the circuit breakers and I'm like, all right, put your seatbelts on and just relax. All right. And I immediately dominate them. But then my instructor, who is great, shout out, he's probably going to watch this. They are very patient people, just like me. And I've learned so much in the air, but I have told Jade this a number of times. Obviously my life has been very colorful. And every time I lift up, I'm like, I knew something like this would happen. I knew I was going to take it into the sky. And you have to be in control. So who better than me? And I talk a little dirty on the radio. I'm like, this is helicopter 8314 Tango. I'm on a downwind. I'd like to join the pattern. I have information uniform. And I can hear the air traffic controllers like, all right, helicopter, whatever. Hold short but I can hear the guy go, and like, it's kind of funny. And it's a whole world. It isn't like women are not welcome there. So I like to invade their male space. And it's been wild. All I can say is if you want to be a female pilot, just, no yoga pants. I was causing problems. And and no one cares if you're a woman. It's, can you fly this machine or not? And it is my flying chastity cage because I will be in bed sleepy time at 9:00. No alcohol, no mushrooms. I am a nun when it comes to flying. So thank you, aviation, for, really cleaning up my act. And it puts you to the test no matter what. One bald eagle could kill me at any time. And all I know is it is the best experience I have ever had. And I am very grateful. And if I was not a pro dom, I wouldn't have the clients to kind of get behind this. You can actually, I tell them my tail number, they can put it into Flight Tracker and I can fly over their house so they can masturbate to me in the sky. It's a special feature I offer. You have to pay for that. But I'm having a great time. It's a lot. I would say that I can't even imagine anyone else doing it. I just completely can focus, and it is certainly not boring. And it's very therapeutic because I can't think about anything else except flying. That's it.
I was, you know, I have a wild imagination. I also listen to comedy, and there's a comedian named Bill Burr.
We know him well. We're from Massachusetts.
Yeah.
He's a pilot. He's a helicopter pilot. So now I'm
Nice.
thinking of like you two
Me and
both
Bill
flying
Burr.
helicopters on the radio. I would listen to that for hours, just
It
you
is,
arguing.
There's a lot of innuendos, and you could really have fun with that. And I have to be careful because I have to be professional when I'm on the radio. And so,
Of course.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I can see your position. I'm downwind on final. I'm getting close to base.
Okay, Miss Cassidy Cream. Miss Cassidy Cream says no one with a foot fetish seems to give a good foot massage. Do you find that to be true?
A lot of times, yeah, because most people have a tendency to want to get to their pleasure and not the pleasure of their mistress. Like, there's a lot of people who are, if you're a fetishist, you're a fetishist, and you're not necessarily submissive. So if they're there to, worship your feet to an extent, but they also have to know they're going to a dom, and a dom wants some things a certain way. I know a lot of people, like, I love massage. I am a massage whore. All of my clients know at some point or another they are going to massage me one way or another. And for me, it's such a sensual experience. And if you don't know how to do something, the easiest way to please a dom is to go on YouTube, figure out how to do something even half-assed, and we will be so grateful because it's our pleasure, and then we'll give you more pleasure after. Like, that's all. It's our pleasure comes first. So, it's a thing. But I feel like a lot of foot boys, they just don't put the work in. But most people don't want to put the work in. They just want to get their rocks off,
Thanks to go for sissy baits. Like, you want to masturbate about cleaning my tub, but that tub, that is a mess. It kind of goes into a lot of things, right? Like, it's like, is it for you or is it for me?
Right. And
Well, I have to
ultimately,
say
it's going
this.
to be for me because I'm the one in charge.
And you're the
I have
one
to say
doing
this
the
though
job.
about cleaning tubs though. Like when I play that role, that tub is clean, right? I make sure I take pride in that.
Well,
no. All right, impact play. We have whips, paddles, floggers, riding crops. Do you have a personal favorite and why? Eustacia.
oh yeah, I'm a suede flogger thumper. I'm also very sensitive to smell, which is why, like, I don't love latex. That's a whole other conversation. I wear it for photos, but I don't really love it in session. But I love the smell of suede, and I think that you can really control the volume. I talk about volume a lot with nipples and stuff, but when you are using a flogger, suede flogger, a cane, I just think it's something that you can really sort of modify, and it can be sensual. You can run it over someone. You can take it up quickly because it's hard to be really sensual with a cane. I know it's true, but yeah, I'm a suede flogger person.
Jade.
Yeah.
I really like the crop. It's one of those implements that I feel like is very much a stereotype, but I love that it's like an extension of your hand in a lot of ways, and you can run it over somebody's skin. You can tap lightly. It's a very sensual tool, but I do occasionally, it's either that or, a 3-foot whip. I really love teaching people that a whip can be sensual in a number of different ways. It doesn't have to be incredibly hard. And to appreciate the different types of sensuality, whether it's being run over your skin, just the lightest bit of a brush of it, and the intensity of sort of the fear around that, and like having curiosity about it, or just like the sensualness of if you're cracking it near them in some way. Like, just kind of be in your body and figure out, are you fearful? you're in a safe space, but you can sort of explore that fear. You can explore the sensuality of it in a different way. And it takes a significant amount of control, so that you don't hurt somebody or you don't push them past a limit. And I like that personally because it's very meditative.
Okay,
That's a great answer.
This is a lifestyle. It is a great answer, I must say. This is a lifestyle, right?
Yeah, speaking of lifestyle, I'm going to go check on the person that I have bound. So, Jade, you take over for a moment. Put her on the big screen. I'm not kidding. Okay.
No. So you have to check on the person. That's the coolest thing. All right. So basically, one of the questions that I had, because it's a lifestyle, what was the light bulb or the aha moment that you realized that not only am I kinky, but like I could live this way? It's one thing like, oh, I'm kinky. I always said I was kinky. I made homemade straitjackets when I was young. I always loved oral sex. I always told them I liked lingerie, told lovers I loved lingerie. But there was a time where I had this realization, this revelation where I'm kinky. And this is when I wrote the book, The Coolest Way to Kill Yourself. And it's about that. It's about like coming out. I killed myself and I became Nicholas Tanek, so to speak.
Well,
so do you have an aha moment?
I do. So, my ex and I, we explored the kink community when I was much younger, and kind of had he was my top and I was his bottom, and it didn't quite jive because I'm definitely a top leaning switch. But I did have a girlfriend who I met, and she and I were playing around once, and I was kind of topping her and I was spanking her in bed. And, it was just super hot. I was just kind of kneeling above her. She was on all fours and was just lightly spanking her and slowly ramping up and then going harder. And then she started to cry. And I was just like, oh my God. And she said, no, 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 don't stop. And so I kept going. And she had the most amazing orgasm from me spanking her. After that, I was like, I am sold. I want to do this all the time.
That's beautiful. Eustacia, we're talking about, it says light bulb. Yeah,
your spelling is a mess. I've been watching the whole time. Jade knows that I love spelling games and I'm a spelling dork. And what's the word, Jade, that no men can spell?
Oh, God.
Your favorite activity. Please learn how to spell that or you will be caned. We will go over that important spelling word. I like to go to the schoolroom over at Dandy's and really stick it to you if you don't know how to spell ejaculation.
I'm going to challenge Slutbox tomorrow on that. Shout out to him.
He needs a review. Yes, shout out to Slutbox. We know you're watching. Sarah Beth.
Slutbox. So have you had an aha moment, like when I've always been kinky? We're kind of like born that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Saw the world differently. But there's a time, because kink is a lifestyle, right? And so was there a time where you had like this aha moment, not only where you knew you were kinky, but you're like, oh, I could live this way?
I think when I met Lucinda Archer and Simone Cross, who are just towering figures on the West Coast, they just were like, you have that sparkle. You need to go to this pro house. Like I worship Simone Cross and Lucinda, and they just sort of saw this thing in me that is really special. And because I'm just, I was talking to Jade about this, and I think maybe you, Nicholas, like the way that women are raised is to sort of apologize and to accommodate. And I was not raised like that. I was, raised to say no. And I'm an assertive person. And so I was kind of born for that. But as far as like also aha moments, like in general, I am a boundary pusher. And like, I know I'm going to push you a little far. I'm going to make you tap, but I'm going to abide by all, SSC RAC guidelines. But I'm going to push you a little bit over that edge. And if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to make it happen. Moving on.
So this, this lifestyle, it's very fulfilling. It saved my life. I know what motivates me, but what motivates you to continue it?
God, everything. I mean, the level of communication, the education that you get through this community, if you're open to it, if you are accepting and curious and whatnot, the amount that I've learned that has made me a stronger individual, a more playful individual. Uh, I think tapping into some of that, you know, childhood wonder and whimsy while you're still doing like kinky, sexual, fucked up things. But it's sort of that ability to play that we don't really get a chance to do on a regular basis, and also explore different sides of ourselves. Like, I don't always like being a nice person. Like sometimes I take it out on my clients or, you know, my friends. But it's like the little parts where you can kind of, it's almost like being an actor. You're channeling different parts of yourself and you're testing it out. You're testing to see what it is and you're constantly evolving. And I mean, that motivates me to continue every day. Not only that, but I get to see my really hot friends in sexy outfits.
All day. I mean, yeah, to continue, I think that's really interesting. You know, I'm an avid reader. I've always been a huge nerd. I majored in Latin. We know this. But I think my novel's very dense. I will absolutely have no regrets. It is a life not wasted. And I think one of the nicest compliments, and I've heard sort of different versions of this, is that when I say I'm busy, that could mean so many things, and that's really erotic.
I know.
I might be running a marathon, flying a helicopter, or fucking your uncle in the ass. And and the three of them are very highly likely and possible. And like, so you kind of never know. And I would just rather be like a Hunter S. Thompson type than just, you know, a life well lived is just a life that's very colorful. And I like just the sort of the unpredictability.
I cannot thank you enough for saying that. Seriously, as someone who's faced death, you know, loves the kink community. You get it. You get it. I like to say you have the fire in it. So
yeah, I'm having fun over here. I'm not in my cubicle, like wondering, like if the boss is mad or did I send that email? That has never happened. I've never had a real regular job that I wasn't just being a tourist.
Do you ever do office role play?
Sometimes, but I'd rather like sometimes, but I'd rather have you like be my ottoman.
Yeah. There is the whole sissy narrative, like sissy secretary and stuff like that. The boss becomes like the sissy secretary slave and stuff like that. So let's talk about evolution, right? You're in the lifestyle, right? The kink lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm into stuff that I never thought I'd be into. Seriously, from my hospital bed, I had this fantasy that I'd be living the life that I'm here now, and I'm living it, and I'm like, that means stuff like that is possible to everybody out there. I never thought I'd be into the stuff I'm into now. I mean, it's all safe, sane, consensual, you know, risk aware kink. But how have you evolved?
Oh goodness. I come from a background of was very innocent in high school. I didn't drink, I didn't do drugs. I didn't even know people had sex until my sophomore year of high school, in which case I was like, why? I don't understand. I was very high on life in a lot of ways, and much higher on life now. I have evolved in many ways where I am willing to try a lot more. I'm also a little bit like Eustacia, where I'm like, no, I'm going to convince you to try a few things to, you know, get you to evolve in some way. Because I think it's worthwhile to try new things, to see, like, to test out your tolerances and like your boundaries in some way. Because I mean, why not? You only live once, and if you can do it in a safe environment with people you trust, it's awesome. Why not? Like, I think that's how kids grow, and that's how we as people grow, is you're testing your limits, you're, you know, being challenged in some way. And it also allows you to grow in life as well, because you learn a lot just by playing. And I think this is where, you know, you'll find a lot of submissives who will say that, I can't believe, you know, you've had me grow so much. And these are lessons learned in the dungeon that I can apply to real life. Bring back that sort of dungeon reflex, but from the submissive side.
That's really good.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just I've learned to be a lot more open, a lot less judgmental. To me, I'm just like, don't yuck other people's yums as long as nobody is being truly harmed. Like, have a good time. You only live once.
Oh boy, that's a deep
Eustacia?
one. Yeah, Jade and I are both like interested in stoicism.
Mhm.
I mean, this is a many multi-layered question. I've evolved a lot. Like, with great power comes great responsibility. And when I first started, I didn't really know, even with people much older than me, how much I was influencing them and impacting them. And so now I'm much more careful and much more pointed in what I want people to do to achieve. There's a lot of fitness and health goals that go in for people, and a lot of life goals. And I love Jade's idea of play. I encourage people more to understand that, like, we're all kind of the same. I'm going to go hair metal too, because Park Avenue leads to Skid Row, and Jade and I both see high corporate people and regular blue collar, and there's really no difference in anyone. And I really enjoy looking at all different walks of life and playing in these different walks of life, because we're all just human beings at the end of the day. We've all got the same roughly 650,000 hours to live, and something like 4,000 weeks. So, like, let's wear leather and have some fun.
Mhm.
There's a lot there, but yeah, social stratification and kink, and just like, we need to have some fun and play as adults.
And we also want to be seen, heard, and understood for every little bit of ourselves, and that's not just what we show to the vanilla world. It's also, again, that like our childhood, like whimsy, which can, express itself in like sexual ways, in some ways where you want to get dressed up in your maid outfit and be told what to do,
I'm not hurting anybody. I'm just cleaning the house.
Yeah, who doesn't?
In fact, you're helping a great deal.
Now, another thing, one thing I've learned, one thing how I evolved, I learned to be a less selfish kinkster, like be part of the solution, not part of the problem. I want to contribute. I want to serve, right? So I want to be able to serve. I want to have skills to serve. So that took some time to learn, but that comes with age, I guess. So let's just get real down to it. Sadism. When was the last time you were impressed by sadism? Yours or someone else's? What was it?
I'm going to bring this up because it's going to make Slutbox smile. So, Slutbox is a recently collared submissive of mine who I see pretty regularly.
Hi, Sarah Beth.
Sarah Beth. So she is so lovely. He. We can use both. He's so lovely in so many ways. And we recently had this really lovely, organized dom friend like scene with this person. And he was very nervous, very, very nervous. It was so sweet, so sweet. And me and the other dom that I was working with, he came up and said, "Oh, can I give you a hug?" And I'm usually like, "Yes, of course." This time I said, "No." And the look on his face was just so delightfully like horrified. And I was like, wow, that was really sadistic of me. And I felt bad in one way, but I also was just so overjoyed by that little bit of pain. And I said, well, you can earn it. And she eventually did. And it was wonderful. But I was like, wow, that was really harsh of me. Particularly because I had just asked her if she wanted to be collared.
Yeah. She's a sweetie. Yeah. Sadism, yours or someone else's. I don't want to get anyone in trouble, so I'm going to maybe skip over that. But I will say that one woman who trained me, her favorite trick was actually lighting people on fire if you had a hairy back. So she would spray you with a little alcohol, and I would be holding the wet towel, like, I don't know about this, but I don't want to get anybody. That was a very long time ago. I will just say that I know where every glory hole is, and I'm the glory hole tour guide. And if you get in on the glory hole bus, you're going in the glory hole. And that's my favorite activity. It's like a field trip.
Oh, that just I had these questions, but let's just go into it. The hitchhiking whore.
Right. So
Tell us about the hitchhiking whore.
Game I like to play, and actually sometimes you end up in the glory hole. I have a parking lot that's designated, and I dress you up real sleazy, and you hitchhike and you get in with the wrong driver, which is me, and then you're gonna end up having to sing for your supper, or suck your way to salvation. It gets creative, and I have like a driving fetish. So I like to like drive with leather gloves, and having someone sort of, I can't gag you in case we get pulled over, or not unless you're in the back. But I like to play kind of kidnapping car, but obviously with a lot of rules, and we've talked a lot about that, but with a lot of consensual. Like if I take you somewhere, it's like an adult store, and I have an agreement. Like they don't have Glamour Boutique anymore, but it's all prearranged. But I like to do adventure field trips because it's really, really fun. And it's something I like to do goal setting. So on this date or by this date, we're going to do this. And it's just fun. I got to get out and like touch some grass too and go outside. I mean,
I do have to say, this is all consensual role play.
Yes.
It's all consensual role play, people.
Yes.
No one's doing anything illegal. It's all consensual.
No. It's role play.
It's acting. Tobey Maguire is not really Spider-Man. It's acting.
Yeah.
Right.
It's acting. So just take us through the safety issues, because it is role play and you don't want to attract attention. You don't want to, so there's certain things you have to do, to just make sure everything's okay with a situation like that for the hitchhiking whore.
Oh yeah. I mean, that kind of thing is, I know who owns that property. So I like ask them if I can play a game there, that kind of thing. But like safety isn't, that's like a loaded question. But yeah, I mean, I like to do like creative adventure stuff just because I don't want it to feel like you just come into the dungeon and we whippy spanky check off the boxes. I like to we're going to work towards some kind of adventure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Throughout the years, like you said, you don't want novices.
Nope.
But sissification, a lot of has degradation, humiliation involved.
Yeah.
Some people don't play it that way, and throughout times, the times have changed. Has your attitude towards sissification changed over the years? Has it evolved in any way?
I mean, I'll let Jade go. Go ahead, Jade. We talked about it. No, I mean, to me, sissification or anything like that really it's a role play. Like, we're entering into a consensual role play whenever we go into this. It's legitimately like being on a playground and being like, hey, you want to play cops and robbers? Okay, let's do this. You're coming in, you're engendering a specific role in some way. To me, the degradation piece is, if you want to be a slut, be a slut. Like, that's what you consider being a slut. I'm not saying that, oh, just because you're a woman, you're a slut. Like, no, that's not what it is. You, in this role, are a slut, or you're a whore, or whatever you want. But it's like, you're doing this. It has nothing to do with female, male, what have you. I mean, I strap on a harness, and I'm more slutty. Like, is that degrading to men? I don't think so. Right?
Good way to look at it.
You don't look unhappy when you do it.
Oh God, I'm so much happier when I strap one on.
But even that question, me too. Me too. Even that question, sissification, I think that has an implication there that my attitude is premeditated or preconceived by someone else. Listen, you're mine. I want to dress you up like a doll or dress you up like a slut. It's not a woman. It's it's more of you're my object. You're my puppet. So it doesn't have anything to do with femininity, being a biological female. None of that. You are my blank slate, and I am Bob Ross from hell.
Yeah. Oh, that's a quote.
You know? And that's what we're doing. But it has nothing to do with being a woman.
I am Bob Ross from hell. That's a quote. Wrote that one down.
Yep.
All right.
A lot.
This is like we try to help people on the show. So shame has a lot to deal with the kink community, you know. So what advice would you give to somebody who's dealing with shame in their family?
Honestly, it's a tough one because, if you're around your family, like I came out to my parents, and my parents, being a professional dom, they do not like it. It was a very challenging conversation to have. But I have since lost my shame around me being kinky and what I do. And part of that is just finding like the supportive people in your life, the other kinky people in your community, your friends. Shame is a really hard thing to get through. It's really, really hard, and it takes years and years of support and mental health help. I always recommend to people, go on Psychology Today and find like a kink friendly therapist, because it's tough. It can be really tough, especially if you're isolated. It's important to find your community and to find people to speak with, and people who can sort of help you find your joy, like to balance out that shame in some way until it tips to joy, you know?
Yeah, I really like that. I know we're gonna like end with joy, but I will tell you that I have had a therapist, which was good. I'm glad this person told me she could not handle this. It was like you kind of
Wow.
you could not handle it, and that she thought I should go to an ashram in India. And she could not treat me because she was like freaked out. But I would rather have you tell me that, right? That's kind of good. Like, all right, she was like from Fairfield, Connecticut, and just could not handle the whips and chains. And like, but at least she was straightforward. But as far as like, this is a very complicated issue too. And like, guess what? You know what? If your family doesn't accept it, I mean, they also don't have to know. Not that you have to hide it, but not everything has to be shared. If you have specific kinks, and exactly, you can find your tribe, but shame is also the way that you perceive it. If you can your mind is powerful. If you can get your mind around accepting yourself, others, it'll be easier on others.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes. Thank you for saying that.
You come in shaking, right? Everyone else is shaking. But if you're like, this is who I am, if they need to know.
Yeah.
I want to do a platform check real quick.
Yes,
Platforms are changing. Platforms are changing every day. Who's on MySpace anymore? Right? I mean, like, so where are the best places to see you on social media? We're gonna go back into it, but like just to make sure people can check you out while they're watching. Yeah, Jade, what's the best place to reach you?
God, everywhere. It feels like you're going here and there. I am on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, Loyal Fans, and Fansly, as well as FetLife. All of those places, feel free to check me out, follow. I always tell people, please don't DM me there. I'm really terrible about getting back. It's always email. Email is always best. But I do love all those. I am probably going to be on Sex Panther a little bit more in the coming weeks. Thank you, Eustacia.
I live there.
So you might find me there, but you'll have to get me like the timing on Twitter, Instagram, or Blue Sky. So, but I will be popping on there here and there.
No surprises. I'm banned from a lot of platforms, so that's okay. FetLife, fuck you too. And I was flagged for sending people my Sex Panther, but people too much like aggression around being my free sub. So you are getting a lot of links to the Panther. I'm banned. That's okay, FetLife.
Wait, FetLife banned you for promoting yourself?
Yep, for sending people my Sex Panther link too many times. But
the whole kink community is about promoting yourself. Like
No,
literally.
not on Fet. Fet is actually not like professional friendly. I know that. I probably don't belong there. You know, that's like they say, don't bring an Uzi to a knife fight. I can't be on FetLife. I am not for free. I am expensive. I can't like my kinksters. I want to help the kink community and be a part of it.
Yes.
I do the live dungeon at Man Ray for free. You can come see me sometimes. I will post that. I'm only an ex Twitter person. Blue Sky is too much for me. And I have been kicked off Instagram. So I'm mostly a Twitterer, but please come to the Panther. You can see all kinds of parasocial things. You can watch me cook. You can watch me walk around in the woods in my gear, but I like it because it's live and interactive and people need that. So I am a Sex Panther freak. Jump on the Panther. We can chat. We can text. Because a lot of people have like a spouse nearby, so they want to text. And I leave long voicemails, which people live for, and they ask me to make a recording. So I think the Panther is the most flexible and it suits everybody's needs.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Chastity, what do you prefer? Plastic, silicone, or metal?
Metal, hands down.
Hands down metal, something that I can please remove easily. That's all I could say. Where I'm not playing Jenga with your cock. Stop that.
Now,
yeah, too much.
In the words of Chastity Queen, the best chastity advice is the one that fits.
Yeah,
yeah.
And the ones who don't need power tools and a magnifying glass, everyone stop it.
Or a disassembly, instructional manual.
Right. Listen, Mr. Steelworks, you got to like make it easier on us. All right. It's just a lot.
Yeah. So you can get 15% off. 15% off with offer code YKF, Locked in Lust. Get a vice. Anyway, let's get back to it. How can we make kink fun again?
I gotta go on this because Queen Ariana Chevalier just like made a post about this. I swear she read my mind. Like, everybody relax. We're bringing back fun. The pandemic did not only happen to you, and like we gotta bring back like some excitement. And there was so much healing and trauma stuff that we were doing. Let's bring back like old school masochism, and just because it's been so focused on the client and not, or the sub, and not focused on the dom's needs because we're all your mommies. So guess what? Okay, the mitts are off. We're all done crying. Put away your tissues and pull down your pants. It's 2025. Bend over. Seriously. That's it. That's a lot.
I don't know when kink wasn't fun.
Right
So to me, I'm like, wait, did it stop being fun? Because where was I when this happened?
Things got just really serious. But I look at it this way: we are not promised tomorrow.
Exactly.
Let's have a good time. And it can be a choice. I was dying. Seriously, I was in a hospital. It was ugly. It was bad. I looked like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. It was bad, and I still had a sense of humor. And that's the only thing. You gotta have fun. Just try. Even if it's desperate.
I always say I'm the Weird Al of domination. People are always like, "I'm so afraid to meet you," and I'm like, "We're not in a session right now, so don't no. We definitely need to have fun, and of course we have fun with each other. That's why Jade and I make such a good pair. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like BDS, I made a post about this. Everyone loved it, but BDSM is should be fun. Mm-hmm. It can't be just a trauma dump on the dom, or not over here. Okay, not in my backyard, not in my yard. Just go to someone else. Let's
have fun. All right.
Fun.
Let's have fun. The ultimate kinky fantasy.
I think we should end with this. Mine is good. Go ahead, Jade.
And, okay, maybe you're together. Now, let me set this up. You have endless resources. You have all the time in the world. You can do anything you want with anybody you want, anywhere you want. Be whimsical. The world is yours. It's your imagination. What is?
Don't tell us how to be. Go
your
ahead.
Ultimate kinky fantasy.
Mine would be to essentially create like this amazing compound where I could have my friends come visit and have several like subs come and go. I certainly don't want to step on Eustacia's fantasy,
She knows
but I
where I'm
definitely
going with this.
I'm going to let you fill that in. But I definitely want to employ a little bit of that in mine because I kind of get off on that, role play. But I love the idea of just being able to say yes, no to whomever, have people come in cleaning my pool, serving me and my gorgeous friends, and being able to play dress up every day. I don't know, and have parties. It's I love my life as it is, honestly, so I can't really complain. I am already sort of living the dream. I just need a little bit more cash so that I can have the dungeon of my dreams.
So I love this. But my actual fantasy, and because we talk a lot about this, my ultimate fantasy is that actually with unlimited resources is that I pay you, and I want an old school time clock with cardboard, little cards, and you make the minimum wage, which is whatever, $8.25 an hour for the 4 hours that you spend, and then you actually get a paycheck from me, and there's an interview process. There could be HR, which could be Jade, and a firing process. And that to me, and you don't get to do anything you don't want to do, and I am the CEO. And that is my ultimate fantasy with unlimited resources, and one day that will happen. You'll have to punch in and punch out. And I can't wait to give you your paycheck and suspend you. And you don't get to do anything you want. And Jade could do HR. We could have a whole staff. I'm working on that. I'm getting there.
Can I volunteer to be HR? I'm really good at. Seriously, I get people together.
The process, it's very complex, or I don't know. I can talk to the other board members.
Oh, okay. Thanks. You put in a good word for me, please.
Yeah, I got to work on that.
Listen, I'm happy to be a manager. I like the idea of disciplining somebody.
Yeah. Yes, you have to just send me your resume. We'll talk about it.
Rapid fire recommendations. They don't have to be kink related. We'll go Jade first. Eustacia second. Yep. Okay, just because Jade's friend of the show.
She's my dude. Yeah, go.
All right. So recommend a film.
The Last Unicorn.
Eustacia.
Oh, I love that. The Last Unicorn. That's such a great movie.
Psychedelic too.
Me? The Crying Game.
Recommend a book.
The Anxious Generation.
The Beast in the Jungle. Henry James.
Recommend a television show.
Ooh, Severance.
Mine is a British show called Vicious.
Oh, I didn't see that. I want to see Severance too. Ben Stiller directed. I like Adam Scott too a lot.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I like BBC shows. I like British shows quite a bit.
You got to see Vicious.
I'll get it. It sounds good. You have similar tastes, so yeah. All right, I'll definitely check that out. Recommend a song.
Oh God, Return to Innocence.
By
Enigma.
I think we all know mine is Urgent by Foreigner.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to make it. If you call me more than once in a day, you have to make a video of yourself singing along. I'm into karaoke, cross-dressing karaoke. What is so urgent? Put it on.
All right. Recommend art. Any kind of art, any medium.
Oh, I love Time Unveiling Truth by Giambattista Tiepolo.
Is that a painting?
Yes.
Like, what are we? Oh. Any kind of art. Oh, jeez. Any kind of art? I gotta kind of think on that one. But I don't know. I'm into race car drivers, so.
All right.
I'm into racing. I'm like a NASCAR type person. I am. But yeah, pick up some racing. Take some racing lessons.
All right, we have the word association game.
Okay.
This is fun.
Goodness.
All right. I started doing this in the very first show. So, all right, I'm going to say a word or phrase, and you say the first thing that pops into your head. Okay. Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. Recommendations. We have one more. Meal. Recommend a meal.
Okay. I'm struggling. Oh, I had this the other night. Bucatini with creme fraiche and caviar.
Me? Oh, dog food. If you haven't tried it, you're going to. It's underrated. Underrated. Yeah.
There's that scene in Showgirls, that movie Showgirls, where they're just sitting.
I'm into dog food.
They're sitting there. Gina Gershon is talking to the woman from Saved by the Bell and Showgirls, and they're just like talking like, "Oh, you used to eat dog food? Yeah, I used to eat dog food too." This is
People actually, it's not so bad. You got to come over and try it out. It's actually not bad.
all right. The word association.
Okay.
Game. All right. So I'm going to say a word or phrase, and you say the first thing that comes into your head. So if I say chastity, you may say lock. You may say that. But if dog food is the first thing that comes to your head, if I say chastity, you say dog food. There's no wrong answer. Okay. Then there's the jar. Right. I don't know what's in this jar. There's little pieces of paper. Sunshine made it. Natasha suggested we get the jar, but Tangled Blues was the creator of it. So I could pull something out. I don't know what I'm pulling out. So I'm in this just like you. Right.
Okay.
The one rule we kind of try to stick is don't kink shame. So if I say something, just say, and you, instead of making fun of it, unless it's really, really funny, but just say not my thing. You know what I mean? All right, ready?
Yeah. Are we? Who's going first?
Oh, good.
Are we jumping back and forth?
Jade goes first. Jade goes first. You
Yeah,
say
go.
All right, here we go. Garter belts.
Thighs.
Face slapping.
You, Nicholas.
Scarification.
Oh, hot.
Splashing.
No.
Rope.
Oh, bind.
Ball
It's hard
gags.
to think of fantasies.
Ball gags.
Pragmatic.
Eustacia?
Pragmatic.
Oh, you said it. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay, medical play.
Oh, needles.
Me? Oh, I'm not a good nurse. No.
Vacuum beds.
Latex.
Too hot to handle.
Chastity.
Cock.
Necessary.
French maid outfits.
Sissy.
Overrated.
Scarification.
Knife.
You're not that special.
That's good. Mummification.
What was that?
Mummification.
Ooh, sleep.
Hot.
Suspension.
Chain.
Oops.
Latex.
Hot.
Orange.
That picture is pretty amazing. It's beautiful. I highly suggest everyone you'll find it if you look. Yeah, make them work for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Find the warning sign.
On Sex Panther.
Let's go to the jar. Let's go to the jar.
Okay.
All right. Oh, I'm not doing that one. All right. What is this? What is this? Locking collars.
Ooh, absolutely.
Slutbox.
Alien impregnation.
Ovipositor.
Nerds.
Breeding.
Ooh, orgasm.
Yes.
Oh. 69.
You and my cock.
You wish.
North.
Norse?
Yeah.
Oh God. God?
Yeah.
Nerds.
Lingerie.
Oh, bustier.
Pink.
Piss.
Tub.
Overwhelming exuberance. Fountain. Joy.
Ownership.
Constant. Spectacles. Goggles. Funnel. That's my favorite thing.
Fart fetish.
Ass.
Amateur.
And finally, we've reached the end. Scat.
Not for me.
We have some comments. Chris Bako says Lou was a character. Brett would be great as Brendo. Northeast Munitions. I've seen a seltzer, a water bottle, and a black cup as Eustacia. Gone this long without a pee break.
Penny, I did actually. You can't see my lower body. NM is Nina Mara. I know it's you. Hold it forever.
Stan Vladimir says, if I remember correctly, Miss Vivian Lamore was also a pilot. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh, Sunshine says I serve her well. Oh, Cassidy Cream. Shout out to Cassidy Cream, a friend of the show.
Hi.
Oh, Northeast Munitions. Put away your tissues and pull down your pants. Best quote of the evening. Yes, I must write that down. Thank you. Put away.
The only crying in the dungeon should be one that I caused. All right, stop it. Stop it.
Nice. Oh, and God Bella says, hi, everyone. Respect to all the Doms. Oh, everyone's coming out. So let's just finish it up. So, okay. Word association game. Blah, blah, blah. In what ways can kinky people unite and help each other out?
I think it's a lot of just acceptance, and let's not judge one another and our journeys because they all look very different. I also think that people need to realize we're all humans. We're all going to make mistakes. I see a lot of people who are in the kink community, and people just want to write people off for making a small mistake. We've all been there. Let's remember we're all humans, and that we're going to make mistakes, and give people a little grace. But just be there for people, provide resources, and try not to shut people down who are just curious and want to learn.
Yeah, she answered that question for me.
This is a question that I get mixed results on, but I'm very curious about your answer. How can kinky people make money? This is a new world we're living in, right? Things are changing rapidly. Ideas of what kink is and who kinky people are in the kink community is changing. It's Matt MC said it best. This is a paradigm shift that we're going through. So we have to survive. How can kinky people make money?
Okay. In what way, though? Because
anyway, not everybody's as beautiful as you are.
Yeah, so that's like a question for another show. But honestly, I see so much of the same stuff. Right? Great. This is really great. Spit, roast, and fist, and whatever. Be innovative. Be authentic. Be yourself. People are really turned on by me. I love making sourdough. Jade has seen how excited I am with my culture. I film myself just making bread. Find some authenticity in who you are. And if you don't have that, go read Hunter S. Thompson. I will make a book list for you. But you need to have some idiosyncrasies now. Thank you. Exactly. Like you need authenticity, because everything is just so hackneyed and trite. The true beauty and the people that I think are being washed and coming up or remaining as a stronghold are authentic.
I agree. And figure out, where people find value. Authenticity is absolutely one of those things, but it's what makes you valuable to others, and what can you offer that somebody else can't.
What are you going to do for us?
Yeah, or just have like be yourself. I think what Eustacia said is really true, that authenticity is so very important, and to connect with people, because I think a large majority of my success is because I have a community and I've leaned on them. And, I feel very strongly about the connections that I make, because we're all just trying to get by,
Yeah.
So we're all looking for something. Where do you want your kinky path to take you next?
Well, well, Eustacia and I are thinking about creating a podcast ourselves. I know personally, I am also looking forward in my life and getting like life coaching stuff down the line going off, and also maybe creating a website that actually helps bring community together. And if I do that, I'll share more. Um, but for me, it's just kind of continuing down and learning and educating and trying to be supportive of others' journeys.
Yeah, kind of similar, except that I actually am serious about starting my company that has actual slaves that I pay, but you might be on camera, so you can actually tune in for that parasocial relationship that you need. Eustacia Enterprises, and but it's going to be a tough interview process. But I want to do something like that that's actually real.
It's so inspiring to see both of you. Like, you're doing something. You're active. A lot of these people who are watching this right now are just sitting on their ass doing nothing.
We're very active. We're like Mount St. Helens.
Yeah, I am. So and seriously, the energy of both of you make me want to go out and be creative and do something. And thank you for everything.
That's the point.
Quick question: we got to do the stand question. If you had any superpower, what would it be, and how would you use it in your kinky life?
Oh God, that's an easy one for me. I would be able to morph into anything that I want to. Can you imagine like 8 arms all ending in like dicks? It would be phenomenal. I could, use so many holes at once. But yeah, no, it'd be kinky to be able to change into anything.
For me, it's invisibility because I'm always on stage and I just want to watch.
Yeah. All right. Finally, life is fill in the blank.
Life is fucking beautiful. Fucking beautiful. And I want to just say thank you to like all the people in my life who make it that way. Including you, Nicholas, and Eustacia. Good Lord. I feel like I've lived 40 lives. So yeah.
Me too. Jeez.
Thank you. Thank you both for inspiring everybody, inspiring me specifically. How can people get in touch with you? How can people, serve you, give you, and serve you on your journey, so to speak?
Well, all those websites I listed before, Twitter, X, Blue Sky, FetLife, all those. Don't DM me, email me via my website. That's always the best way to reach me. But yeah, follow me. If you have a question, I'm not afraid to answer if you have a genuine question. And thank you all for, listening.
Yeah, find me on the Panther because I love Sex Panther because it's interactive. So when I'm on, that means I'm actually on and available. And I really like to engage with people because I like also there are a lot of vicissitudes to it. I could be talking to one guy about Byzantine history and another guy about fisting at the same time. And I really like how unpredictable and random it is. And I also like that if it's heating up, we can go to a chat. If it's heating up, we can go to a call. So I like sort of that it has so many functions. So find me on Sex Panther because it is a howl and I really enjoy it. And I've enjoyed meeting a lot of people on there. And, it's great.
This is absolutely wonderful. And here is Jade Desire's website. Please go to it. And everybody read. Reading. It's fundamental. We're talking about people like Hunter S. Thompson.
Yes.
Books. Reading is fundamental. I wrote 3 books. Your Kinky Friends. I wrote Chip Black Nail Polish and The Coolest Way to Kill Yourself.
Right. Here you go. Here, this is what I want to leave you with. There you go. This is what you should read.
Yes.
Get out of here, fools. All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Thank you so much.
That was really fun.
Jade Desire, Eustacia.
Thank you.
am so happy. I'm so thankful that you're here. Seriously, you have. I feel better. I feel like I could face the week. Seriously.
Me too.
Life is fucking beautiful. And I'm going to face the week and we are going to do it together. We're kinky. We're wonderful. Everybody support kinky people. Kink helps kink. Be cool. Be kind. Keep an open mind. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye, all.